dangerously. Okay.
Folks, if you've seen the news in the last 24 hours, you probably know that parts of South and North Carolina are on fire.
And firefighters are battling those fires that erupted across South and North Carolina. South Carolina's governor declaring a state of emergency amid red flag warnings.
And things are especially bad around Myrtle Beach, where some of the scenes remind me of what I saw in Los Angeles.
Dangerously.
Okay.
We got one of the trucks are in danger at this time.
Freaking A, this is it, guys. Evacuation. Evacuation. We're evacuating right now.
Okay, so they evacuated us. We got the code red, and the police were literally beating down the door and ushering us out, like within seconds of receiving that. Thankfully, we were already packed because we had left earlier, and I don't mind that I've already lost so much in my lifetime, but my son has already lost so much in his lifetime, and the kid was he took pictures of his room earlier in case he doesn't ever... we've always been prepared for hurricanes and stuff, and this is just so different, and I feel like I had to start all over again to come here to have brain surgery, and I just everybody just wish hope for the best, because we are going through it here in Myrtle Beach, Carolina Forest. So if you could just, I'll probably delete this later. I don't want anybody to be upset that I didn't let them know or anything like that, and so I'm just making it general. Yeah, good times. So I'm just really scared because it was a lot smokier and sneakier now than it was earlier today. All right, love you guys, mean it. Okay. I have Jake and Arietta. Of course, I will not leave. I would never leave.
Now, thankfully, the firemen in that area seem to be doing a much better job containing these fires, but due to bad weather conditions, the risk of more escalation remains high.
Yeah, Eric, Rachel, people who live here along Dirty Branch Road say things could have been much worse for them, but they're just grateful fire crews got here before it did.
Luckily, officials in Horry County were also smart enough to perform controlled burns to reduce the fuel available for such a fire.
Ever heard of fighting fire with fire? One way the South Carolina Forestry Commission actually does this is by prescribed burning.
I hope someone in California is taking notes. Now, I'm not just here to tell you what the legacy media is more than happy to report. I'm going to tell you about the uncomfortable truths they are definitely not going to share with you. For instance, I'm sure many of you didn't know that home insurance companies are leaving both South and North Carolina.
We've got carriers that are pulling out of marketplaces. We've got rising cost of insurance premiums.
Okay, imagine this. You just bought a house. 6 weeks later, you get a couple things in the mail from your homeowner's insurance company. One is a copy of your insurance policy, and the other one is a cancellation notice saying that your policy has been canceled. 6 weeks after you closed, after you paid them up front for a year. this happened to somebody in North Carolina. The reason was because of the age of the roof. Now, when these buyers purchased the home, the sellers did not know how old the roof was. When they bought the house from the owners before that, those owners said it was replaced somewhere 2013, 2014. So I don't know if the buyers gave the homeowners insurance that information or they just said they didn't know. But apparently sometime after closing, they went out there and took pictures and they said they would not assume the risk of that roof. I just don't understand how they got the policy. They had to pay for a year up front and now their homeowners insurance are getting canceled. How is that okay?
And even the ones that are staying are now charging premiums so high that people are opting out of home insurance altogether.
Welcome back. More and more homeowners are abandoning home insurance because of skyrocketing costs. The jump in premiums is forcing some owners to forego insurance altogether.
And then you find out that Myrtle Beach is also the place where South Carolina's most prominent smart city project is taking place.
New details tonight on plans to turn Myrtle Beach into Meta Beach. It's all part of making the city a smart city using new advanced technology.
More than 25 companies from across the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom have explored the Living Lab program since its inception last year.
Myrtle Beach is very excited that these companies have chosen us to be part of their innovation growth.
The hope is for businesses to use the lab to research and prototype technology that hasn't been tested.
And we are actually going to help them test their product in a real-life scenario.
To be honest, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this. For some mysterious and I'm sure innocent reason, these smart city programs are always taking place in areas that have a bad insurance situation and are facing fire risk. I already told you that something pretty similar is happening in Phoenix, Arizona.
Belmont Partners, an Arizona-based real estate investment group, says a firm owned by Gates dropped a whopping $80 million to kickstart the development of a brand new community there.
Check this out. If Bill Gates gets his way, Arizona could be home to a brand new cutting-edge smart city.
Now, the situation is far worse than just insurance cancellations. You see, even if they don't deny renewing your insurance outright, these companies just increase the rates so much that you can't afford those annual premiums anymore. One homeowner who's facing this problem told a local newspaper, "It was all fine until August, and then all of a sudden my renewal went up from $1,450 a year to $4,500. That's more than my property taxes." She also pointed out that many people in her area are retired and on fixed incomes, so they can't just pay $3,000 to $4,000 extra every year. And because of this, these communities are now vulnerable to another fire. So, as much as I would hate to see yet another fire destroying healthy communities, I think it's going to happen again, and unless we make some noise, these insurance companies will create another gold rush for land grabbers. So yeah, this so-called coincidence keeps happening. Places are chosen for smart city projects and suddenly insurance companies start leaving those areas. Now, other people are also talking about these huge red flags, but just like the LA fire, such videos often get removed from platforms like TikTok, which is outrageous.
Myrtle Beach is currently burning to the ground and the news is not talking about it. We have a wildfire that has not been able to be contained for like the last few days. It started over in Conway, now they're evacuating people out of Carolina forest. And just like Lahaina and LA fires that we recently saw, history repeating itself, this area also has a smart city contract that is supposed to play out in the next few years. And I just can't help but notice the parallel. And then to add insult to injury, 6 months ago, homeowners insurance pulled out of this whole entire region, leaving everyone without coverage and only like 30 days to go get new coverage.
Now, interestingly, according to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, people in many parts of this country are likely not even going to be eligible for mortgages soon.
We're seeing the same thing, which is both banks and insurance companies are pulling out of areas, coastal areas and things like that, or areas where there are a lot of fires. So what that is going to mean is that, you know, if you fast forward 10 or 15 years, there are going to be regions of the country where you can't get a mortgage, there won't be ATMs, there won't, you know, the banks won't have branches and things like that. Right. That's a possibility coming up down the road. It's not that the banks will stay there and keep making loans in the face of evidence of disaster, or that insurance companies will do right policies. They can cancel those policies every year.
Right.
So I think the risk is that they just won't be there and that people won't be able to get them. That's really the issue.
This, my friends, is a disastrous situation because it's driving people away from well-established, smaller communities into bigger cities where they are always under surveillance and working 3 jobs just to pay rent. So I sure hope this new administration is going to do something about these shady insurance companies. Now, moving on, I want to talk about the Epstein situation because some of Donald Trump's most diehard supporters are now at war with Pam Bondi. I mean, just listen to what Laura Loomer just said.
She said it. She went on Fox News, and she's the one who said herself that you can expect to see some Epstein information. And notice that she said Epstein information because she's trying to watch her words, because she knows that she's a liar. She knows that she's not releasing any information that's actually new in nature. It's just a bunch of propaganda. It's just a bunch of nonsense and red meat fodder to the base so that they can feel like our DOJ is less corrupt than the Biden DOJ.
No wonder the Attorney General banned her on X. Now, Miss Loomer has always been outspoken, but even people like Candace Owens are now starting to say that we might never see those files.
So what do you think is going on with the stringing along of the release of the Epstein files? Because too many powerful people are involved in it. Epstein files. I am just tired of the Epstein conversation. We're never getting them, guys, okay? Like, I just feel like this is getting weird.
And in the midst of all this, Pam Bondi once again went on Fox News and said this.
Very interesting that they withheld that from us. And I will find out who withheld it, and they will not be working for us anymore.
While it's not surprising that some people in the FBI are trying to keep the truth hidden, it is surprising how Pam Bondi plans to deal with them. I mean, I don't think firing such people is enough, and I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks this way.
So let me get this right, Pam Bondi. You're going to fire a treasonous traitor that's inside the DOJ or the FBI? You're going to fire them? How are you, working in the DOJ, going to fire somebody in the FBI, number one? Number two, fire these criminals are protecting and interfering with an ongoing investigation into the most prolific serial trafficker and child rapist of all time. And you're telling me that there's somebody at the FBI or the DOJ that's somehow interfering in this investigation and you're going to fire them? And we're supposed to go, yay, Pam Bondi, you did it, you fired them, way to go get them, Pam Bondi. That'll teach the next one a lesson. What planet do these people live on, and how stupid do they think we are? Why the are people not getting arrested, Pam Bondi? Why the do we not have the Epstein list? Who are you protecting? You were the Attorney General of Florida when Jeffrey Epstein was arrested for the second time.
Now, one of the most interesting takes about this whole file reveal fiasco came from none other than General Flynn himself. I'm sure some of you know what he has said in the past about people like Epstein and Diddy.
He's cooking. He did know control. He did it. Okay? I mean, there's been enough of these people that have come out of Hollywood, that have left Hollywood, have said, I can't be part of that. And this Epstein Island stuff is severe. This is really, really serious stuff. Because what they do, and I'm from the world of intelligence, in the world of intelligence, what we do to find people that we want to work for us is we try to compromise them. We put them into compromising situations.
Well, in his most recent tweet, he shared this. My assessment is the USAO in Miami could be found to be very dirty on this Epstein files release issue. Keep in mind, they had jurisdiction over Epstein Island originally. We should see all the evidence collected from that search. And I think he's making a great point. In a country where you can end up in jail for jaywalking, Jeffrey Epstein was given the most lenient sentence possible, even though he was charged with horrifying crimes.
He agreed to serve a total of 18 months in the Palm Beach detention facility, 12 for felony solicitation of prostitutes, and an additional 6 for procuring persons under 18 for prostitution. Constitution.
And Alex Acosta, who was the orchestrator of this plea deal, had the nerve to defend it even after Epstein's criminal network was exposed.
Simply put, the Palm Beach State Attorney's Office was ready to let Epstein walk free. No jail time, nothing. Prosecutors in my former office found this to be completely unacceptable, and they became involved. Our office became involved. Our prosecutors, as this 2008 article recounts, presented the ultimatum: plead guilty to more serious charges that required jail time, registration, and restitution, or we'd roll the dice and bring a federal indictment. Without the work of our prosecutors, Epstein would have gotten away with just that state charge. Now, many today question the terms of that ultimatum, what's called the non-prosecution agreement. A good prosecutor will tell you that these cases are complex, especially when they involve children, and even more so in 2006.
So I think we should definitely look into why this guy got away in 2008. And that reminds me that we might have gotten away from a very bad situation involving yet another aircraft. Now, apparently, this near disaster was caused by a bird strike, but I can't imagine how people must have felt when they saw this plane catch on fire in the middle of the day.
Y ellos arrancaron ahora, papá.
¿Van de regreso? ¿Yo arranco de aquí, va?
Sí.
¿Van de regreso?
Están dando la vuelta.
¿Van de regreso, sí? ¿Para aterrizar al aeropuerto aquí?
No, pero si siguió que allá se jodió.
Pero se dan cuenta ellos, pues. Ellos se dan cuenta. ¿Cómo no dan cuenta?
Another thing I want to talk about is a new California law that would make it very hard for people to defend their homes if someone broke in.
California Democrats now want to ban self-defense. Radical left California lawmaker Rick Zieber just proposed a new bill that would ban fighting back during violent home invasions. First, they came for our constitutional right to bear arms. Then, they slashed police budgets and packed the courts with soft-on-crime judges. Now, they want to take away our right to defend ourselves and our families in our own homes. California's war against law-abiding citizens must end.
If passed, the legislation would require individuals to exhaust all reasonable means of escape before using force that could cause death or serious injury. Essentially, if a homeowner defends themselves against an intruder instead of attempting to flee, they could face criminal charges. Well, usually, authorities don't really get there in time in California, and you don't have to take my word for it.
We had a break-in in our house, and luckily, everybody's safe. It's not cool, and I'll tell you what else. I was on hold with 911 for 59 minutes.
So yeah, just another insane law which might make it even harder for people to live in California. We're going to end today's video right there. I hope things settle down in South and North Carolina. If anyone is from there, I hope you're safe, and I would love to know what's really happening on the ground. So feel free to share your thoughts with everyone in the comments down below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.